apart from some eucalypts and acacias around the boundary, because they'll grow anywhere anyway, right? We did 2 years of soil prep before we planted them, and that was always the need, because it was clear from our analysis of the site that we had shelter and we also wanted screening. We're a corner block and we wanted a bit more privacy. So we planted that stuff up. But we spent the rest of that time just building the soil up, because it was really bad, like really bad. And that gave us the time to witness where the frost settled, what were some of the responses there, what type of soil types, how wet it got for how long, etc. So we used that period of observation as an observation period, whilst our soils were getting better the whole time. And it was pretty clear that site down there was really, it was the coldest, apart from down here, was the coldest, highest chill zone that we'd be able to get. Now, there's a few people, I don't know, oh, that's right, it was at Pioneers, I was on a panel talking about climate change and agriculture, and the problems that people are now having with the lacking of chilling hours. So they've got, an almond farmer or a pistachio farmer or whatever, cherries, and they just cannot get the chilling, right? So for us, we're not commercial per se, but one of the things that we want to have is some success over time. So grouping the plants that have the highest chilling requirements in a landscape that is really likely, even if climate change comes in as a factor, we'll still be able to get the chilling that we need. So pardon?
How cold are we talking about?
Well, you've got
citrus. So.
Well, citrus, we've got them over here, where it's not frost free, but it gets that's where we get more sunlight, right? Yeah. That zone there, we get more sunlight than any other part of the property for the longest period, right? And the frost it's the first part of the landscape for the frost to be gone in the morning. Over here, it stays white until lunchtime.
The difference between 28 degrees and 18 degrees is huge.
Well, we never get to 18 degrees. Our temperatures will go to say 20, 25, 28.
Yeah.
-2, -3 sort of thing, Celsius.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do get between 30 and 60 frosts a year. Because we're about 300 kilometres from the coast, so about 200 miles from the coast. So is there any other bits on that? Yep.
Darren, could you briefly share what kind of thought process went into how many trees and to what yield? Because that's one thing that really paralyzes me in thinking about planting fruit trees, is particularly were you aiming?
Depends on what your outcomes are. Like for us, we've got a brand called HD Shed. And the shed hasn't been built yet, but when it is, it's going to be right here. And this is a bit of a retirement project, if you like. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully the retirement will come earlier than sooner rather than later. But we've got a really big, beautiful tree. I think it's up here somewhere anyway. It's one of the biggest trees on the boundary. And I was looking at having a shop. We were looking originally at having a farm shop on the corner here. And I was up here doing some fencing one day for the perimeter fencing, and I just stood there. It's one of those things you just go, God, you idiot, how did you miss this spot? Because there was a really big tree, 1.5 metres in diameter trunk. Kind of looks like one of your big valley oaks, yeah? And it's right on top of the hill, and there was nothing on this side and there was nothing on this side, and it was right on top of the hill, and there was just a turning circle waiting to happen. So we thought, right. So what we're going to we've already made the turning circle so that it looks like it's always been there. And then we're going to have this like a drive-through. So people will be able to drive through here, and because it was always our intention to have a sort of a roadside system. So we'll be a bit of a food bowl for our little district of people who don't grow a thing. Yeah. They're all 20 and 30 acre blocks of people who just spend, the tractors in one part of the property on one weekend, and then it's moved to another one next weekend, They're just urban commuters who've got a bush block. So in terms of determining how many, well, we looked at it more in terms of how it fit in with what we're doing, and we know that I've got some pretty good links with the organic retail industry in our town, and they'll take as much as we can produce. If you're just doing it yourself, then we've worked out that about 20 fruit trees is about enough. And that's if you can it all and do all of that sort of stuff. That's plenty for a family of 5 or 6.
Aiming for those fruiting at different times.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. We've worked out a bit of a metric of varieties so that you can get yields over an extended period. Good canning varieties, good fresh varieties. You know, getting citrus all year round. So have one Washington Navel, one Valencia, 2 lemons. Eureka and a Lisbon, so you get year-round lemons, and so on. Yeah. How many apricots you need, all that.
They're not, most of yours dwarf or not necessarily?
Good question. I think they're probably semi-dwarf, but they're not dwarf.
Did you purposely want the smaller ones?
I didn't go to that trouble. No,
Okay.
I just went to a nursery we've used for years. We've got plenty of space, and
And
wasn't
that-
doing a patio.
In that consideration, are you planning to keep them at any given height, or are you going to let them go Fukuoka style? Or what
No, we'll keep them at a height because we need to obtain. We've got these. Has anyone here been to Australia?